Greetings, Ray Carnicelli from Lax904. It's been a busy couple of weeks on the lacrosse field and off. Since the last time we met, Jacksonville faced Utah, tried to come back, dug too deep of a hole, lost that important conference game, bounced back and hammered Queens after a little bit of a slow start. Had me nervous, 2-2 at the end of the first quarter, but Jacob Greiner and company did what we know they can do and ended up hammering Queens. Flagler College 0-2 in the last couple of games in the Peach Belt. A little surprise that they're 0-2. They've got a big game this week against Shorter, trying to get to 1-2 and then 2-2, and all four teams make the Peach Belt playoffs. It all comes down to seeding, so an important game for Flagler on Saturday. The high school playoffs are underway. A lot of great games in the newsletter. If you scroll down, you can hit the links and see all the district playoff matchups. We will have a broadcast on Monday, a game broadcast Monday night. We will be back on the radio show on Sunday at 10 a.m. But let's talk about today's game. I'm recording this very early Pacific time. Jacksonville plays at Detroit at noon Eastern, so I'm hoping to sneak out and watch that game. Either way, we'll be able to watch it archived on ESPN+. It's a big game. All these conference games are. And in the newsletter, I mentioned that I set our research department to find out what the tiebreakers are in the ASUN conference, and really what that was involved in me shooting an email to somebody at the ASUN and them responding 30 seconds later. So appreciate their cooperation, but it's pretty simple. If there's a tie, it goes to head-to-head. Following the head-to-head tiebreaker, it goes to the RPI rankings. So I included that list below. The win against High Point really helps Jacksonville. And you'll see that these ASUN teams, Utah, Air Force, Jacksonville, are pretty bunched up in the RPI rankings. So the bottom line is win out and you get a bye. That's the easiest thing to do. And so Detroit today, Lindenwood Saturday, then Air Force, and then back home against Bellarmine. So only 4 regular season games left. Top 2 teams get a bye, and then the following 4 teams play in the quarterfinals. And we saw what happened last year where Jacksonville did not get that bye and stumbled mightily against Robert Morris to end the season. But that's ancient history. We don't want to talk about that anymore. Let's talk about Detroit. So the series between Jacksonville and Detroit are tied at 4. It's tied at 4-4. And I remember watching the games, that first game in Jacksonville in 2011, when Jacksonville and Detroit were both in the MAC. And always great games. Once again, tied 4-4. I think 6 of the 8 games have been decided by 2 goals or less. That's 6 of 8. And 5 of those games were, I believe, 1-goal games with an overtime game. So traditionally very tight games. 4-4 is the series matchup. But Jacksonville's 0-3 on the road in Michigan. So it's a tough place to go and play. I'm not sure if this game's inside or out, most likely outside. But either of those facilities are tough. Interesting, I ran into the Jacksonville team at the airport as I was headed out west, and they were headed up north on Tuesday morning. So it was good to see all the boys and the coaches, dressed up, looked like a professional business trip. The Queens game, 2-2 at the end of the first, had me nervous. I'm not going to lie. I knew that they would probably come back and win, but the team's got to start peaking. This is what they've been working all season for, these conference games. The experiments are over for the most part. The teams had to deal with some critical injuries, both on defense and on offense. But I feel really good about the lineup that they have right now. Intrieri and Greiner, those 2 guys are the straws that stir the drink. There's a lot of great players on that Jacksonville offense, but when Jacob Greiner and Jackson Intrieri are playing and playing at a high level, the offense plays at a high level. And then you can see Caputo and Lamond and Taylor and Brown and these other guys contribute mightily, which they will, but I believe it starts with Intrari and Griner. When they're hot, the team is hot. Nathan Kapp at the faceoff spot is really coming on with some great wing play as well. Nathan's done a really good job and improved a lot after he gets the ball in his stick, making decisions whether to go to the goal, knock it out to space to a wingman, or dish it off to the point man or another attackman. It's a very important part of the faceoff game, and Nathan's done an amazing job with that. As I mentioned before, with the injuries at close defense, Taguri is playing at a high level, a very high level. And then you look at his counterparts. Baduras is playing very well. And then whoever the third defender is, whether it's Pellegrino or somebody else, they are all truly capable, especially when you've got Ryan Della Rocco. I think he's ranked 10th in the country right now in saves. So it's a pretty good balance from defense straight on up through the face-off play into the attack. And then when you've got the 6-7 deep at the rope unit who can keep your midfielders fresh and create some offense and play great defense, it's all there for Jacksonville. And this time of the year, it's more about mentality. Is the team ready to compete? Are they mentally ready? Are they not distracted? Do they know their assignments, and are they ready to put it to Detroit? This is a good test. It's a road test. They're going to have to travel for the ASUN playoffs out to Colorado. Can they make this trip to Detroit and put it all together for 4 quarters? No slow starts. Take it to them from the beginning. I think they can. I think they will. I like the way that the midfields are balanced up right now. And it's all ahead for Jacksonville. Every goal that they set for the season is still ahead of them. Win the ASUN regular season. Win the ASUN playoffs. Go to the NCAA tournament. There's nothing that they set their minds out to do going into the season that it's still not directly ahead of them. So noon today Eastern time. It's going to be a good game. Looking forward to it. High school playoffs are underway, as I mentioned. The link has all of the seedings. So there's Class 1A, which is the smaller schools, Class 2A, which is the larger schools, and then Districts 2, 3, and 4 here in the north. So when you hit that link, you can scroll around and see the different matchups and see the potential matchups. I'm not going to get into those right now because I don't want to offend anybody with predictions, but I do have some expectations and predictions. And, I hope I'm wrong. I hope there are some upsets. I hope it's not all chalk with the expected teams winning. But Ponte Vedra's had some games that are closer than a lot of people have expected. But this time of year is when the cream rises to the top. So they've got their work cut out for them, in their district with Bartram, Creekside, Nice, Fletcher. We'll see if, PV comes out on top. Once again, we do have a game scheduled to broadcast Monday night. And then Bowls in 1A, they should be dominant in 1A. And if it ends up being Oak Hall versus Ponte Vedra, that could be a good game to see who gets out of the North region. So a lot to be determined at the high school level. If you get a chance, hit that clip down below, the YouTube link, the X link that shows that play from Carter Parlett. Just amazing. Anyone who's watched Carter play for the last 5, 6 years, 7 years, knows what he's capable of. And that short stick defensive midi position is kind of an unsung position, but it was great to see Carter balling out and getting recognized for that. Dobson had some offense in that game as well. Jack Dowd's doing his thing at Salisbury. Guy Bistro down at St. Leo's. So this Sunday, we're going to spend a lot of time on updating you on the local players, updating you on this game today, Detroit versus Jacksonville, Flagler versus Shorter. Then Saturday, I'll be broadcasting Lindenwood at Jacksonville. That game, I think, is at noon on ESPN Plus at Rock Beach. So it's been a busy couple of weeks. A lot of fun trying to sneak in some great lacrosse games. That Notre Dame Duke game, Syracuse Cornell. Just so much going on. It's a fun time to be a lacrosse fan. Check out Quint's rankings down below. It's, what do the rankings mean at this point? It's fun to see what Quint has to say about each of the teams. Army and their roller coaster season, the Ivy Leagues, the Big Ten, and obviously the battle in the ASUN. So appreciate you spending some time with me this morning. Time to get to work and try to sneak out at noon and watch JU for lunch. So thank you. We'll talk to you again before Saturday's game, on the air Saturday, on the air Sunday, on the air Monday. Ray Carnicelli, Lax904. Have a good day.